Welcome back to another podcast episode, guys. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Luke himself. This guy I just had the pleasure of meeting very recently, but I'm already very, very impressed with his portfolio of experience in this space, not only as a setter, but a setter manager, taking a startup company up to several hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. And yeah, I'm just super happy to talk with you, man. Welcome in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So, why don't you, for just a 30-second to a minute sort of rundown of like who you are, what you do, how old you are, where you live, just some general sort of context into that.
Yep. Well, I'm Luke, 18 years old. I live out in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I do this thing called online appointment setting. So it's essentially I work with like high ticket programs and courses and reach out to the people who are interested and then set them up on a longer form call with a closer.
Beautiful. Okay, beautiful. And so, if I have this right, you got into this space 2 years ago when you were 16 years old. So you were still in high school.
Yeah, I was a sophomore in high school.
Okay, and this was back in 2023.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So walk us through what was going on in your life back then. What happened that made you kind of want to get into this opportunity? Um, around 16-year-old Luke.
Yeah, well, essentially, where it started was I come from a very military family. I'm the youngest of three. My older two siblings are in the military. My dad was in the military. His dad was in the military. And very early on, I'm like, this is not the path that I want to go down. And it probably started when I was like 15, like a year before that. I was like scrolling on social media and just seeing all these stuff of like, make money online, like make money online. And I'm like, wait, I can just skip the college route and just go directly to like making money in a business. Like, sign me up. So I actually tried when I was 15, I tried to start my own drop shipping store first because that's what I was like getting targeted with, and I saw that a bunch. And I didn't buy any courses. I was just like watching YouTube videos, and it was freaking tough. Like they made it seem a lot easier than it was. Like I had to wear a lot of hats, and I ran marketing for like a day. I put like $50 in ads into one day, didn't get any sales. And I'm like, man, this sucks. I got to look at something else. And I think I remember having like one sale. And it was like from one of my family members, which is pretty funny. But and that was around like early stages of like 2023. So maybe like January of 2023. And then kind of moved on from drop shipping. I'm like, yeah, this is like I'm 15 years old or 16 years old at the time. Like, I don't really have so many skills to start a business. And I was getting targeted ads for appointment centers. And at first, it was DM setting. Like, hey, come message from like business owners' Instagram accounts and make this amount of money just like sending messages from your phone. So I'm like, okay, why don't I try this? So I bought like a $30 like low ticket course, had some videos in it, helped me land a role on like a DM setting role, probably around March of 2023. And keep in mind, I'm in school from like 7 to like in the morning to like 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I was playing soccer, so like I had a busy schedule at the time. But I just saw like the end trajectory of high school and like college, and I'm like, that's not what I want to do. Like, I want to make this happen right now. So, long story short, I wanted to really like learn the skill set more than just like this $20 course. So I came across a sales training program that could teach me how to actually learn the skill set. And this was around April of 2023. And at the time, I like drained my bank account. I'm like, all the money I had, it was going towards this. So I'm like, if I'm putting my money and like draining my bank account, like I'm gonna be invested into this. So I like trained up, did a bunch of mock calls, did a lot of like what they told me. And then June of 2023, I landed my first like proper high ticket sales role. Um, and just got
Cool.
started with the industry from there.
Sweet. Okay. You're a good storyteller. I'm like so captivated hearing you speak. I'm like listening intently. That's okay. So take me back to you're seeing this ad, and I believe it was where both me and Matt worked at. It was Cole Gordon Remote Closing Academy. Okay. It's got a high sticker price. I believe it was $10,000 at the time. Were you paying that in as a 16-year-old?
No, I like worked a job the previous summer as like a busboy. So I had money saved aside for that, but I put like a small amount down and it was funny. I was talking with the guy who closed me like a few weeks ago and it was like the longest payment plan he's ever had. It was like 12 months long. He's like, "Dude, I remember on the call. He's like, "Dude, I don't normally do this." Like saying all this stuff. And I was like, holy shit, this guy gave me even an opportunity. And again, I like drained my bank account for this. So I was like, I'm gonna like cut my teeth and do everything I can to make this work. Because at that point, like I was committed.
Yeah, okay, cool. And so how did you balance training, school, soccer, your life? Because like you got a position within 2 months, which I'd say is pretty average, or like that's kind of what you'd expect from a committed person. It's like 2 months, but committed also means like you're committed without all these responsibilities. You had a bunch of responsibilities too that you had to manage. So what did your schedule at the time sort of look like?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So I'd like wake up and I was listening to Cole's voice like 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 everywhere. I had headphones in, was listening to Cole. Like when I was in the hallways in high school, I had like headphones in, like nobody talked to me, like I'm listening to Cole Gordon. And funny story actually. Inside of RCA, they ran like setter coaching calls and they were at the time, I think it was like noon, and I had a Spanish class at the time. So I would submit my calls like the night before I would go into school, and I would message the coach. I'm like, hey, I'm in Spanish class. Can we review our call from like, 12:40 to like 12:50? So then in the Spanish class, I would ask the teacher, hey, sir, like, can I go use the restroom? Can I go to the bathroom? So I would ask to go to the bathroom so I can go in the hallway and get my call reviewed, my center call reviewed. And that went on until like I got out of school in June. And like the day after my finals ended, I had the group interview for the company I first joined, got hired on the spot, and I'm like, all right, it's summertime, I can work full time. Like it was actually a really nice transition looking back on like how it played out.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Your Spanish teacher must have been like, man, this guy Luke has got his P sessions timed out, 12:40 on the dot every time. That's great. No, that's hilarious. Okay, so then tell us a little bit about the company. You were telling me about like how, before the interview about how like big they were, the numbers they were doing. So just try to illustrate the scale of this company that you landed as a first-time appointment setter, because that's also not normal.
Yeah. So it was a unicorn offer. And I remember I sourced it through the Facebook groups that the sales training recommended. And it was literally a Facebook post into a group interview. But the company, they've been around for like years and years and years. It was an Airbnb coaching offer and massive team for high ticket. When I joined, there were like 60 to 70 setters on the team. There were 11 closers, and they also had this position called finishers. So after the closer closed the deal, they would like pass it off to the finisher to walk them through financing. So the closers could be on like back to backs all the time. But anyway, this company was like, they had innovated like this literally streamlined process, plug and play of like a conveyor belt system. And when I joined, they were doing around like eight to like 890K a week cash collected. and they were pushing like $1 million a week in cash that was collected.
Amazing. Amazing.
So
So how
you,
did
yeah, you got to keep in mind, this is my first real role. I'm 16, and I remember joining like a sales meeting on a Monday, and everybody's hyping everybody up. It's like I would equate it to not in like a bad way, but it was like the Stratton Oakmont of like online high ticket appointment setting. It was like the environment was like incredible. But anyway, I joined a sales meeting on a Monday, and it's my first sales meeting. This 16-year-old kid, like shaking in my desk chair because I'm like so nervous. They're going over like some of the stats for the setters and closers, and the business owner was on like a yacht. He had his Zoom up on his yacht, and I'm like, what the hell did I just walk into? Like, I just finished my finals for sophomore year like 2 days ago, this is what I'm stepping into. And I was like, holy shit, I guess this is the thing. I might as well just go 100% all into this.
he's like eating the lobster? He's got like the FBI there or whatever. Like,
It
have
was,
a, good train ride home to your fucking ugly wives, you fucking scumbags. Dude, that's hilarious. Okay. So then walk us through like what was the expectations on that role, KPIs? Like what do you actually have to do? Like how did the pay structure work and what did you end up like making sort of typically on that offer while you were there?
yeah. So there were majority of the setters were outbound, and they had like this dialer calling system to where you would just literally just make calls all day to these new leads coming in. And there's a smaller group of setters, maybe like 4 to 5 at any given time, that would take inbound calls, which were essentially like direct bookings right from ads onto their calendar. But for an outbound setter, the expectation or KPI was either 200 dials a day or you hit 4 sets. So like if you hit 4 sets, but you got less than 200 dials, like you were good. But if you didn't hit 4 sets, like you needed to hit over 200 dials. In the commission structure, it was all commission. So there's no base, no draw, anything like that. But they paid the setters very, very well. So on each deal, the main program that we sold at the time was 10K. Um, Setters would get 8% commission off of a $10,000 program. So if the person paid in full or they finance 10,000, a setter would get $800 for each close that they had.
Insane. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Cool. So then walk us through, and how long were you on this company for?
It was about 13 months. So I was on from June of 2023 until July of 2024.
Right. Okay. And then we can talk about that transition, about like what happened when you left and all that. But like, walk us through, I guess, in that company, what was your personal like highest sort of month there between like what you cash collected and then what you took? What was your like take home?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly cash collected. I remember my biggest commission month that I had there was 11.7K, and it was like 10.7 in commissions with a $1,000 bonus on top. It was one of those incentives of like this company was like pretty ridiculous with this, but on like a random Monday, they'd be like, "Hey guys, whoever collects like I think the one that I won, it was like whoever collects 30K in cash in the next like 4 days, you'll get $1,000 bonus." And like the day that the that like spiff they called it went out, I got like 2 piffs and hit it in the first day. And I told my parents like, "Hey guys, I just got a $1,000 bonus," and they were like, "What?" Like most W-2 like companies like they give like $100 bonus, like so they were like crazily surprised. Um, but yeah, the biggest month was right around like 10.7K plus a bonus.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Great. And what would you say like in that company, since you worked with a really big company and I after this you went on another company and you took a lot of lessons from this company. What would you say are some of your main sort of lessons or takeaways that you got from this company that you kind of still apply today?
Yeah. Yeah. This company, like, I don't think I could have asked for a better like first offer, because it was just drinking the Kool-Aid essentially for a year and a month. But one thing to note about this offer is since I had so many setters, it was commission based. The churn rate on the setters were very, very high, like a lot higher than a lot of offers in the high ticket space. So for me to be on the team for 13 months, at the end, I was like the veteran almost. And I was like, what? I'm just a kid. Like, I'm a veteran. So it was interesting how that played out. But what I saw the characteristics of the people who stayed a while, who were always at the top of the cash collected leaderboard, is they always took like extreme ownership over their own results. So one thing that they did was any reason why a person didn't close after, whether it was passed to the closer or whether it was passed to the finisher and they didn't apply, whatever the reason was, like why they didn't close, they would take extreme ownership and like implement that on their call to see like, well, what can I do? What questions can I ask to gain clarity in the person's situation to make sure that doesn't come up on the next call? And they were just very on top of like their own results. They're very proactive. They weren't like, complaining about any of the leads or like, there's a lot of these broke people coming into our funnel. Like they drank the Kool-Aid with me and they just saw it as such an incredible opportunity to like put their head down, learn such a valuable skill set. And one thing also is I think they had like they had a vision for high ticket sales. And this can maybe get into like the transition part, like out of this offer.
Sure.
But they all had aspirations of like, I want to move into closing. I want to get into leadership. I want to become a sales director. And what I saw a lot of the setters who ended up like churning and burning was they were just like testing it out. They were like, I'll make a couple calls here and there. Like, I'll see if I like it, see if I have a few good conversations. And they weren't like committed. I think because I invested in the sales training, I was in and I decided like, I don't want to go to college. Like, I need to make something work essentially. And that in accordance to like this environment and the opportunity that it gave me, it like was such a amazing transition for me. So in short, I would say the commitment level from like the high performers and the people who stayed long were able to get them through, the tough
Right.
times. Because sales and like what we were doing, 200 like outbound calls a day, like that's difficult for a lot of people.
No, 100%. And so, and for you to do that at that age too, it's just like crazy. So, walk us through the transition out of that company. So why did you leave?
Yeah. So you know how I said I joined and they're doing like not 890K a week in cash. When I left, they were doing around uh like I'm not sure exactly, but I think the like it December of that year, so like 6 months since I joined, their cash collected and like their revenue got cut in half. And
Mm.
6 months later, it got cut in half again.
Wow.
So I'm not sure exactly like the exact numbers, but I saw like the writing on the wall on what was happening. And I'm like, I love this appointment setting thing. Like, thank you guys for this like incredible opportunity. But I don't see like the long-term vision that I did a year ago today when I joined this offer. So I'm going to look at other opportunities that I know are out there for me to like continually make the money I want to, but also have like the learning experience that I also wanted as well.
Do you have context for why that was happening? Like, was it new, like regulations coming in with the Airbnb market that slashed it in half?
Yeah, that was part of it. And like the churn rate was really high. There's a lot of moving parts like with leadership that were moving around. And a lot of setters ended up leaving, and the so I left in July of 2024, and by the end of 2024, the offer had shut down and they stopped
Mm.
running ads. So the business owner was like incredibly like successful. Like he was such a incredible like role model to look up to, but I think there were some just like priorities that were changed and the way like the leadership structure ran the company. I didn't think they continually wanted to like scale up and scale up and scale up. And it just seemed like a natural transition for me to move on to the next thing.
Cool. Okay. So next thing, startup. You hit on that. So let's talk about that because a lot of people try to work with startup companies who are just getting into setting or closing, and that's like their first company is working with a company doing less than, 50K a month or something. And they're like, should I work with this company? Should I not? So this was your
Yeah.
second company.
Yeah. Polar opposite to the first. Like I was the first setter on the offer. So like this conveyor belt, like everything's smooth, everything is already like set up for me. Um, my commissions are direct deposit into my bank account. Like everything was like on autopilot. Take the other extreme of the spectrum of like I'm the first setter, there's no dialer, there's no process is in place. It's the first time like these closers are getting sets from a setter. I had to like create my own invoice and like send it over to the business owner even to just get paid. So like that in of itself was a lot different than like the first role. But the way I found this offer was actually the setter manager at the Airbnb offer, the first offer I was on. He had left earlier in the year and he joined this company with the intention of bringing on setters and helping lead out the team. And on the Airbnb offer, I developed a very strong like relationship with this guy. So I trusted him a lot. And he was like, "Hey, dude, do you want to come onto this offer and like start setting and like build out the setter team?" And in my mind, over the last 13 months, I was like, well, yeah, I just built up all these skills. I was making good money. I was able to like put cash aside, cash in the bank. And yeah, like I want to have more experience to put under my belt. And at the time, like the company was doing 150, maybe 200K in cash. So take like 870K in cash a week to like 150K in cash a month. Like very big difference.
Yeah, very much so. Very, very much so. Um, and like, I mean, you wouldn't recommend that for someone just getting started.
If it's their first role, I would not. And the main reason why is for most people who are getting into this industry, a lot of them, maybe they have jobs. At the time, I didn't have a job and I wanted to make money. And it's almost, I would equivalent it to like starting your own business because you're wearing so many more hats than just like the one cog in the machine on like what they sell it or like make it out to be. So my advice would be if like it's your first role, join a company like I did where all of the systems are already built out. There's already setters making the money that you want to make. All you need to do is just follow the process that they have and since you're a part of such a high level company, you can start to pick up on a lot of the things that have gone into why that company was able to grow so big.
Sure.
Um,
Okay,
yeah, so I
cool.
would say it'll be tough if you're joining like a startup. I would suggest finding a role like I did. It's much easier that way.
And joining a company that's like that large, do you think there's anything that contributed to you actually getting that role and job? Were they not like, oh no, you need a year experience or something like that?
No, it was, I think the main thing was the sales training that I invested into. Um, the guy didn't even ask me my age on the interview. I just told him like I invested all this money into this sales training program, which shows like my commitment to this offer. I'm not just gonna like make a few dials and hope I'll get sets. Like I invested into my skill set. I'm committed to learning this skill set, and I see your offer as an amazing pathway for me to do that. And it was the exact person that they were looking for at the time. So investing into the skill set and having somebody, whether it's Matt, whether it was the company that I invested into, will help you tremendously land that first big role if
Cool.
you're coming.
So, and so tell us about Matt and Sitter to Closer. So how'd you come into contact with Matt? And because now you're kind of helping out with Matt and his team and working under him, learning from him. So kind of walk us through that.
Yeah. Well, the offer that I just came from, I was doing some appointment setting in addition to some setter leadership, like helping build out the systems and processes for this other offer. And I actually bought Setter to Closer to help me on my own offer. And I'm like, I know Matt's experience. Like, I met him a few times in person at the like in-person events at RCA. And I'm like, 59 outbound set closes. Like, well, I could obviously learn from this guy. And then I ended up doing a one-on-one with him, like paying his time for him to come sit down and one-on-one coach me for an hour. And after that, like it seemed like we connected well. He was connected with other people that I had good relationships with, and he is just somebody that I look up to and somebody who's doing exactly what I want to step into, which is fractional outbound management. And again, just like working under somebody who I can learn while making money underneath. So I just saw it as like, this is the perfect segue for me to get into like the next level in my career. The next step on where I want to go is to learn from somebody who's doing the exact same thing that I want to step into.
Man, couldn't have said it better myself. Mine was actually kind of similar too. Like I
Yeah.
invested into Setter to Closer, like the $50 or whatever that was. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, Matt's like a G. Like let's see what he's got. And then his program was just like good and solid, man. And I'm like, man, like I should just send all my, YouTube subscribers here and be a coach in here. Cause like, this is like the Avengers of setting and closing. And like, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, man, I want to get involved in with these guys join the Avengers. So I definitely get where you're coming from on that sense. What would you say for you, like looking upwards over the next couple like year or couple years, would you say is sort of your ambition, your chart of where you're trying to take your career next?
Yeah. The main thing for me right now is like master outbound. Like the one thing for me and like the value that I want to bring to companies is like a phenomenal outbound process. So when it comes to like my own self setting, like yeah, I have like 2 years of experience, whatever, whatever. I want to like learn directly from Matt and his experience and bump shoulders with these other coaches who are inside of the program as well and learn from them. So I would say step one, master outbound, where it is a concrete knowingness of like I can take any company in any industry, become a setter, even if there's never been a setter before on the offer, and help scale it and like produce. That's the first thing. And from there, eventually want to move into leadership on teaching other setters and being partnered up with these companies where I can build a phenomenal outbound division to add profit, have a higher ROAS for these business owners, and do more of what Matt's doing.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, well, dude, I mean, you're 18, you got long ways to go and grow. I think you're a smart guy. You got good work ethic, and I have no doubt you'll get there fairly quickly. You'll probably be one of the youngest sort of setter managers in the industry to make it.
Yeah, we'll see.
I believe in you, man, and you're surrounded around very good people. So, um, cool, man. Well, I appreciate the time and the conversation. I think there's a lot of people who will get a lot from this podcast. And for anyone listening, if you want to chat with Matt or Luke or myself, there's going to be a link down below to get connected into Setter to Closer. All right.
All right.
Thanks, Luke.
Thanks for having me on. Peace.
Peace.